Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video I'm going to show you guys the evolution of the base set Charizard from evolution to base. And what I mean by that is it's been reprinted many times, and I'm going to show you all the different times it's been reprinted and maybe a few variations as well. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, I did add a new Instagram account at TCA. I'm going to be posting to both accounts. I thought it was kind of short and clean, but anyways, we'll jump into it. So the latest reprint, we have the Evolutions Charizard, and this was in celebration of the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. They did a reprint of a lot of the stuff from base set. They changed up some things like the HP and different attacks, but the artwork itself was the same. This is the reverse holographic version of the Charizard from that set, and there was more than one version from Evolutions. Here's the regular holographic version. You can see instead of being holographic around the Charizard, you know, where the picture is, it's actually holographic inside. This is kind of like the original base set one. Also, if you attended pre-releases, you had a chance at pulling one of these from the pre-release kits. They're now called build and battle kits, but back then you could only get them at pre-release events. And if you were really lucky, maybe one of your staff members sold you a staff version of the pre-release card. And what I mean by staff is you might not be able to see it right here, but if you look right there, it actually says staff. It's gold embossed on it. There have only been 3 Charizards ever printed with the staff stamp on them, and this was the very first one. The other 2 were from Team Up, and then from the latest Vivid Voltage, which I believe was announced to be the very last staff set. I do have a few variations. This one I do not have any gem mints in. I only bought it because it looked really cool. It looks like there's an ink layer missing. You can see if you try to compare, you know, the wings and then other parts of it, it's almost like there's not enough black. But I'm not very familiar with the whole printing process, and I haven't looked at it with a magnifying glass. I don't know what layer it is. I'm going to just say it's black because all the black stuff seems to be a lot lighter. But it could be something else. And then next up, this is one that I just have in my personal collection. It is the exact same as the holographic one we showed as the second card. However, what's unique about this one, it is signed by the original illustrator. And since we're going over the artwork itself, I thought that it would be good to show at least one auto signed for Arita for this card. And this actually had the Gem Mint 10 on the auto as well as the card for the Evolutions reprint. And I don't know if I've seen too many of these ever come out with the double 10. Next up, we're going to go back 8 years, one of the longest stretches, probably the longest stretch for Pokemon on a reprint between 2008 and 2016. We have here the Stormfront Charizard, and you can see it's a little bit, it's kind of been digitally remastered, I guess, but it's the exact same artwork. It's a reprint. It has the same attack, the fire spin, and the energy burn. And it's changed over the years from a Pokepower to a Pokebody to an ability. Now, this one from Storefront was a secret rare. I believe this is the only secret rare Charizard reprint, if I'm thinking correctly, but this is the only one printed in the 4th generation. There was none printed in the 3rd generation or the 5th, and then the 6th was the last reprint that we have. And we're currently in generation 8 with Sword and Shield. Now we're going back to the WotC era. WotC is WOTC. It's basically giving a pronunciation to an acronym. WOTC stands for Wizards of the Coast. Now, you won't actually see that on the Legendary Collection. It'll just say Nintendo there. You have to, but it was still technically under Wizards of the Coast until 2003 when Skyridge was the last set. But Legendary Collection bridged Neo 2. Legendary Collection was a standalone series, and then you had the e-reader set. Now, this right here is a non-holographic Charizard with the artwork. It was the first of its kind. Being non-holo, but this was actually a theme deck exclusive that only come out in the Lava theme deck. You could also get this in reverse holographic. This was also the first set to feature reverse holographics, and by most people say, or by popular opinion, I would say that this is the most favorite type of reverse holographic, probably because it wasn't reproduced, and there's nothing really like it. If you look at it, it's got these fireworks kind of going off in circles. You got one here, one here, one here, and people really like that. It pops. For the longest time, this was a very unpopular set because it was the second time base set was reprinted, and there was other sets, you know, filtered into Legendary Collection. But now it is one of the most popular sets that has ever been printed, and you can still find packs here and there, but they have gotten very expensive. Now, probably one of the lowest pop Charizards there is this one. This is also from the Legendary Collection, and the way that you kind of identify it if you're looking at the top half of the card is it's got this Legendary Collection symbol. That's where the collection symbols used to go. I know on newer sets you can see them here, down here by the number, but that was not originally the case. It is number 3 out of 10, 110, and this card right here is very, very tough to get in PSA 10. For the longest time, it didn't even have a copy. Probably also because not many people graded it, but it is very tough to get because of print lines. I usually find them with little white nicks on the back. I've opened this up from the pack before, and I've never actually graded 10 myself. I had to pay a very pretty penny to get this one to finish off the collection. Next up, we had the base set 2 Charizard. Now, this is technically the first reprinted set that Pokemon had. You had base, jungle, fossil, and then you had base set 2, and Team Rocket was released shortly thereafter. Base set 2 comprised of a lot of the cards from those original sets. Had a few more holographics. I think it had 20 holos, and Charizard was one of them. And it is different in that, I don't know if you noticed, but here on this Legendary Collection reprint, they actually used the original foil with the stars. And here you have the Cosmos foil. You can see it right there. It's like these bubbles, and there's no swirl in this one, but you can see right there too, for when you collected back in the day, this is the set you didn't want. You wanted the one without the 2, but now it's really tough to get these cards in PSA 10. There's a lot of low pop cards, but Charizard still looks great, and I personally like any holographic Charizard from base set. Now, next up, this is the one that most of you are going to identify with, and it's the original base set Charizard. All the artwork is the same. The only thing different from that Charizard that we just saw for base set 2 is going to be the set name, or the set symbol, the set number, and then the foil. And I believe, if I remember correctly, yeah, if you look at this, the Pokemon power is actually slightly different in color. This is more of a purple, that's more of a blue, and I'm going to show you a few more variations here soon, but there's more of them that also have the purple coming up. But this is the one that most people are going to identify with, that if you played as a kid, you probably had this one. It was printed into the ground, still a tough card to get in PSA 10. However, this was the most attainable out of the original base set Charizard variations, and we're going to go over some of those here in a second. This one right here, you would think is exactly the same as the one that we just looked at. The only difference is the Pokemon power right here is actually, it's that purple, but this one was actually released after this unlimited base right here, most likely. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the bottom, you've got the dates at 1999, 2000. The one we just had was dated 1999. A very small portion of holographics from the original base set that are shadowed, which means it has a shadow right here along the border, and that are unlimited have this 1999-2000 copyright dates at the bottom. And these were mainly produced on Australian or European base set booster prints. And what's hard to get with these is that when they printed these booster packs, you can actually see on the back it says 1999-2000. The Wizards of the Coast logo, instead of being square like it is on the original base set and earlier prints, is actually curved. So are the logos on the box. But the cards inside, all of the non-holos date 1999-2000, but only a portion of the holographics are actually dated 1999-2000, so it's really tough to get these. It's already hard to find 1999-2000 dated base set booster packs. However, even if you do, and you find one that has a holographic card inside of it, it still only has a chance at having a holo that has the 1999-2000 dates. You could have all 1999-2000 dated non-holographic cards, but the holos still be dated regular 1999. So these are really tough to find. I still haven't completed my set. And for those of you who are wondering, I do have a PSA 10 want list. I keep it down here always in the description, and I pay pretty top dollar for any card that is on my list. Now we're going to get into the top 2 cards. We're going to go with the Shadowless Charizard. Now this one right here, what I mean by shadowless, for for those of you who are not aware, if you look at it right here, they added this shadow to the picture on the right side of the board. You can see that black, and they didn't have it on the original print. That was just to add a little bit of a 3D effect. They're still experimenting probably with the Windows 1995, and this was their way of adding a little bit of creativity to it, giving that 3D texture to it. But the original print did not have it, and that's why it's called shadowless. It's not even an official term from Pokemon. It's just something that was picked up through collectors. Maybe it was Gary, I can't remember. I know he said that he used that term. I can't remember if he's the one that actually coined it or not, but it stuck, and so that's what people go with. And if you're ever unsure, you can always look down here at the dates. And if you notice, it actually says 1995, 96, 98, 99, and then it says 1999 again, and there's no space between the 9 and the W for Wizards. So that was also corrected. They took out the 99 on this side and they put a space in there. There's a lot of other things that are different. The font is usually thinner. Sometimes the energies aren't well centered. This one right here didn't have a choice, but if you have another card, then sometimes if there's an extra line, it's not centered in there. It's just stuck on the top line or the bottom line. And there's other little twerks that you can find, like the coloring is a little bit different. The wings are green. Sometimes people will refer to this card as a green wing Charizard. But anyways, the Shadowless Unlimited print is still really, really tough to get. And now, for the big dog, the only first edition original Charizard print is this one right here. And the difference between this one and that one is this stamp right there. I don't know if you noticed, but on all of the other prints, there was none that had a first edition printing. This is the only first edition original artwork Charizard that was ever printed. There were only 5 first edition Charizards in English ever printed anyways. You had base set, you had 2 from Team Rocket, the holographic and the non-holo, 4 and 21. Then you had the Blaine's Charizard, and then you had the Shining Charizard. But this was the very first of all of them, and the only one from the original artwork. And this is why this card brings such a premium. It's well over $250,000 now. I believe the last auction ended over $350,000, or maybe it was $400,000. I mean, it was very, very expensive. This card has seen such growth in 1 year. 1 year ago, I bought this card for $40,000, and now it's worth almost 10 times that, at least according to the most recent auctions. Who knows what it would go for, because the prices have been all over the place, but this one has continued to just increase up, up, up. Will it continue that? I don't really know. It's going into my personal collection, and I think that's the way everyone who holds this card feels about it. They'd rather just have the card than the money, so they just set it back. But there you go. There you have it, guys. This is the evolution of the base set Charizard artwork, all the way from Evolutions, which is the last print that we had, the most recent one in 2016, back to the original in 1999 for the original base set. Thanks.